All right, guys. Our next guest is currently taking the heavyweight division by storm. Now on a 2-fight win streak, takes on Andrei Arlovski at the stacked and Aussie-filled UFC 225 in Chicago. The king of the shoey. It is him again, Tai Tuivasa, Tai Tuivasa. He just got a sexy haircut and he's joining us on video. Welcome back to Submission Radio. How are you, mate?
Good, brothers. How are you?
Good, good. Now, Ty, before we talk about this Andrei Arlovski fight, we saw on Instagram that you went overseas with Mark Hunt to watch the Parker versus Joshua fight. Tell us, how did that sort of pop up and how was that experience?
No, it was good. We planned it after my last fight, actually, in Perth. But, yeah, it was good to go over there and support one of the Samoan brothers. So it was good.
Were there any good stories, any good... I saw you were training over there. You were doing a bit of sightseeing, but did you guys have any funny stories from your trip? Did you guys end up hanging out with Parker, or did you end up going out and having any epic nights while you were over there?
No, I didn't get to catch up with Parker, but we got on the piss on the night of the fight. That was for sure. So that was good.
Mm. What did you think of the fight, just quickly? Because some people were a bit disappointed by it. Other people were really impressed with Parker's performance. What did you think?
I didn't think it was all that. I think Parker was a lot faster and could have did probably a bit more work. But I think the ref was a dickhead as well. But you know, a fight's a fight, and it's just how you rock up on the day, I suppose.
Yeah, I think the ref caught a lot of flack for that one. But looking at you, I mean, the Aussie takeover continues at UFC 225. Andrei Arlovski, what was your reaction when you finally got him and saw that he was going to be your next opponent?
I was grateful. I was grateful I got a fight, and then I was even more happy I got a fight against a guy who's with such caliber and such a big name in the industry. But I think it's just a stepping stone for me. I gotta keep moving forward.
Well, I know you don't watch too many fights, but did you know who Arlovski was when you got him? Because he's a bit of a legend, I suppose. A lot of fans watched him for a really long time.
Yeah. I knew who Andrei Arlovski was. What's happening, my man? What are you doing? But like I said, I've got to fight these guys, and these are the guys that are in front of me, and I think I've got what it takes to beat these guys, and in Bam Bam style. So just keep taking it fight by fight, and hopefully keep getting the wins.
That's what people expect, nothing less, Bam Bam style. Did you watch his last fight by any chance, and what did you think of it? Because he obviously utilized a lot more wrestling, which he never really did throughout his career. He's primarily been a striker, even though he's got the Sambo background. Which Arlovski are you expecting on the night?
I think he's gonna come and wrestle me. I think that's a lot of. I think that's going to be a lot of the opponent's approach. But to me, it doesn't really matter, you know what I mean? As long as I train and I get my fat ass in shape, I should be sweet, bro, you know what I mean? A punch-on's a punch-on.
I mean, obviously, you're one of the biggest rising stars in the division. Did you have some other options apart from Arlovski, or was he the only one that the UFC presented to you?
Yeah, I said Arlovski or Struve, and then obviously Arlovski won. And so, bro, I really don't. I don't give a shit about any of that shit. I just rock up and fight.
Well, I saw recently in an interview you were sort of talking about the division, looking at the whole division. You said basically you've got a puncher's chance against anybody in the division. I mean, puncher's chance. I feel like you're selling yourself short a little bit.
Well, that's all it takes, you know what I mean? There's a punch. So, no, I just say that. I think in any fight, that's with anybody. I think anyone's got a puncher's chance, and I say that just because that I think that I can beat most of the people in front of me.
I mean, obviously, people don't see the hard work that you put in before your fights. You do a lot of hard training. What do you kind of think is the biggest thing that you're sort of working on and have improved in training over the last few training camps that people don't really know about?
Well, I don't know.
Secret.
I'm not doing a lot of wrestling and a bit of jiu-jitsu and as well, but I think after this fight, I'm gonna look to maybe head overseas and put some time in a proper into a proper gym over there and learn a lot of stuff. I think I have to get to the next level. And I know that if I get really good on the ground and be around some of those guys that really are good on the ground, I don't think probably many or any could beat me after that.
It's interesting you say that, because last time when we spoke, we had you and Tyson on, obviously Tyson Pedro, and he was saying, we sort of threw it out there, like, what if you went to Jackson Winklejohn's? And Tyson said, it's not really your style. So what was it that made you, I guess, what was the moment that made you think, you know what, I'm probably going to go overseas for you know, the next fight?
It's not really that. I think it's more people. I need training partners that can, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
The level and the people, there's not many people that are close by here. So if I go to a camp, I'm not saying Jackson's, I probably won't go to Jackson's. They're like small, aren't they?
There's some big guys. Alistair Overeem's there. Obviously Tyson Pedro's there. Who else is there? There's a bunch of heavyweights.
I've been thinking of AKA.
Oh, yeah.
But
What do you like about AKA? Cormier and Cain Velasquez, all those guys with their wrestling, yeah.
Yeah. I like their good wrestlers, and I don't know. I like Javier. It's pretty good.
Have you met him before? Have you had a chat with him before?
Yeah. I met him a couple of times. So.
And there's obviously that connection with Soa Paleli and AKA over in Thailand. So a little bit of history there with some of your friends as well.
Yeah. We'll see.
Well, talk to us a little bit about the fact that it almost seems like that the UFC have sort of really gotten behind you. I mean, we want to talk to you about the new contract, but how do you just feel about the fact that it seems like the UFC have really gotten behind you and are kind of trying to fast track you to the top of the division with some big fights?
I think it's cool. I think it's even better when I start earning more money, but you know, I think that I'm worth it. I think that I put on good shows, and I will always come to put on a show for the crowd and try my best. So they should like me.
I think there's a lot of reasons to like you. I think when someone does a Shoey post fight and it takes off and goes viral, there's a lot of reasons to like you.
I'm a lovable chap. You know what I mean?
Lovable chap, nice new haircut. What's not to like? KO wins. But I was gonna say,
right in the middle of Mount Druitt, Westfield.
was that a fan that recognized you before when you said hi?
And a friend, yeah.
What's your life been like? I want to talk about the contract in a second, but what's your life been like since joining the UFC? Because you know what, a year and a half ago or so, you're on the sidelines, you're rehabbing your knee. You know, you're waiting to make your debut, and now you've taken things by storm. How different is your life now?
No, not really that different. Other than, you know, a lot more people notice me. Like you said, I was injured for a year, and that was a fucking shit year. You know, I had the birth of my son. I couldn't move. Yeah, just heaps of, you know, I was probably at the lowest point of my life, but that also gave me a whole year to think about where I was going and what I was going to do, and now it's all just falling into place and it's all coming together. So it took me a long time and a lot of thinking to get to where I am now, but fuck it, we're here now.
I was gonna say, why were you so low? I mean, because it seemed like once your knee was fixed, you'd make it to the UFC. Was there ever any doubts in your mind, or why were you so low at that point?
I snapped my knee, so that was a year I couldn't fight. A year I couldn't make money. My missus was pregnant. I was just about to have my son. I woke up out of surgery. I had no arm, so I was with no arm and no leg, no arm for 8 months. Yeah, it's just fucking shit. I was just sitting on the lounge doing nothing. couldn't even provide for my family, you know, and that's a hard time for me.
Well, now look at you. You're one of the biggest stars in the heavyweight division. We mentioned the contract before. We know you signed a new one. You mentioned how you'd like to be making a bit more money. Are you happy with the new deal that you signed?
Oh, for now, you know, I believe you have to work to get to where you want to be, and I'm doing that, I think, and I think that if I put away these next fight and the next couple ones in good style, then I should be getting to where I want to be.
Do you think maybe, because it's a 4-fight deal, do you think maybe you'd be looking to renegotiate that contract, sort of, you know, if you get this win and then another win, maybe?
Always.
Yeah.
Always. I'm always negotiating after everyone.
Casper mentioned it in the intro. It's almost looking like an Aussie card at UFC 225. You got Robert Whittaker on there, obviously yourself. You got Megan Anderson on there. How's it kind of feel to have a strong Aussie support on this card? It's almost like a bit of a takeover.
Brother, it is a takeover. I told everyone it was a takeover 2 years ago. No one believed me, you know what I mean? Yeah, I think it's awesome. Like, fuck, we all get to be there. Rob, I got a message off Rob, you know, he's like, fuck yeah, he's like, let's do it. Like, you know,
is that really what he said? Was Robert Whittaker like, fuck yeah? Because he doesn't seem like the kind of guy. We've never heard Robert Whittaker swear.
Oh, well then, I don't know. No comment. No.
Were you? Yeah.
Oh, I don't really swear much either.
You know, it's funny though, because looking at you and sort of what you bring to the heavyweight division, you spoke to us last time about how like you think the heavyweight division's a bit boring. Do you think you're that guy? Like that's part of your value, that you can be that kind of guy that makes it exciting again? For
sure. I think the days of the old school heavyweight, you know, that's that's the fighting I used to watch. They were just like bad, ruthless, you know, just lures. You know, if they had something to say, say. I think it's just boring. Everyone's worried about fucking how people look at them and shit like that. I don't care. So I'm just gonna do my thing and keep doing it.
I wanted to mention this before. You know, looking at the Aussie card, UFC 225, you got Rob, you got Megan. What was your reaction when you saw Megan's version of the shoey the other day? I know you retweeted it, so you obviously saw it. She basically just put a stubby in her shoe, in her Chuck Taylor, and then drank it out. That's not really a shoey. I haven't
seen that.
No?
I haven't seen that.
She basically, because you retweeted it, and you were saying something about how you'll show her how to do a proper shoey. What she did was she didn't actually drink from the shoe. She just put a stubby in the shoe and then drank from the stubby.
I can't hear you. What happened? Did I retweet it?
Yeah, well, you or someone. Basically, it was Megan Anderson. She put a stubby inside a shoe, inside of a Converse shoe, but then she just drank from the stubby with the shoe hanging on the bottom, so it wasn't a real shoey.
That's not a fucking shoey.
Are you going to show her in Chicago?
I'll have a word with her about it.
All the glory with none of the risk. I guess the ultimate shoey would be a Joe Rogan shoey post-fight after a big victory in Chicago. Do you think that could be possibly on the cards live on pay-per-view?
If he's there, I'm asking him for his shoe, and I want him to spit in it too.
Wait. When are you gonna ask him in cage? Like, let's say you win, he comes in, does the post-fight interview. You're gonna try and get him to do it in cage?
Why not? If we can, for sure.
Oh wow, that would be amazing.
It's going to be an exciting night. We know you're a busy man. You just got a haircut. You're over at the shopping center now. Just quickly, before we let you go, what is the prediction? I mean, how do you see this fight playing out with Andrei Arlovski? If you had to be specific, we know you're feeling a KO here, but are you looking at the first round? Do you think it's more of a second round? How do you think it finishes?
Man, I just prepare to fight for the whole three rounds, and I'll go out there and we throw some hands, and whatever happens. And you know, I'm gonna keep doing what I do, and that's put these hands on people, and if it hurts them, it hurts them. If it doesn't, then they got a hard fucking head.
Yeah, so it's the Cyril Asker special. So of course, go in, win, beat Andrei Arlovski, and then shoey with Joe Rogan. Any words for Joe Rogan if he's listening? If he catches wind of this, any message to him? Basically, getting his shoe ready for you, right?
Joe, wear the dirtiest shoes you have. 'Cause I'm the dirtiest shoe. Filthy.
Wow, there you go. Andrei Arlovski versus Tai Tuivasa at UFC 225. June 9th in Chicago. It's going to be the 10th here in Australia and New Zealand because of the time difference. And on pay-per-view, maybe even a shoey with Joe Rogan. The challenge is there. Don't forget to follow him at Bam Bam Tuivasa on Twitter and Instagram. Ty, we know you just got a haircut, so thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it. Always great having you on.
Boys, take care.
Thanks, Ty. Take care, my friend. Bye-bye.